What's up, fiends? Lucard here. Today I'm going to give you some under the radar recommendations. Alright, so these are some movies that I think are top notch horror flicks that not a whole lot of people know about. Or if they do, they don't talk about them a whole lot. So, anyway, let's get to the list. Alright, first up, I'm going to recommend Psychos in Love. This movie is a romantic comedy parody. It's about two people that meet and they bond over their hatred of grapes. And lo and behold, they find out that they're both also serial killers. So they're kind of balancing all of that stuff, and it's a pretty funny movie. There's also a cannibal involved who meets up with them, and he's like, "Hey, y'all kill people, I eat them." And but the whole thing's it kind of straddles the line between the gore and then the comedy. And so I do highly recommend this one. Nobody ever talks about this one. It's from the same folks that did Disconnected from the early 80s about the crazy telephone. That one's okay. This is the one right here. I think you'll like this one. Psychos in Love. It is right now. It's available at Vinegar Syndrome. So yeah, check that out. All right. Next up, I'm gonna talk about Unmasked, Part 25. This is kind of another parody. At least name-wise, of course, you can tell it's a parody on all the Jason movies and how there's like a dozen of them. This is a UK slasher movie. It is funny in parts. I'm not gonna lie. Some of it is pretty funny. But it's really well done. The acting is stellar. I know you kind of it's hard to see the cover, but he's all wrapped up in like a mummified thing because he's deformed. But anyway, another really good one, and I do recommend if you can get your hands on it or you can see it. I highly recommend it. All right, next up I have I, Zombie: The Chronicles of Pain. This movie was released by Fangoria, as you can probably see. This is about a writer who gets bitten by this zombie lady, and it's basically about his struggles coping with it and turning into a zombie. It's a little slow, so it's not like all rah rah with the zombie action. It's more of a character study, I guess you could say, about him slowly progressing into being a zombie. I saw this one night on B Movie TV on Roku, and I really loved it, and I had to pick up a copy. All right, next up we have a classic that a lot of people have probably heard of, but I believe it is kind of hard to find right now. Maybe not. I don't know. Last I looked, it was still kind of hard to find. I heard they may be making a 4K coming up of it. I'm hoping, because I'll get it if so. Anyway, it's called Martin. It's a movie by George Romero of Night of the Living Dead fame. This was about 10 years later or so, or 9 years later. And it's about this guy named Martin who believes he is a vampire. There's no proof that he's a vampire. He doesn't have fangs. He doesn't, he doesn't like the sunlight, but he can go out in sunlight, but he doesn't care for it. He can eat garlic. All the tropes are there, but he believes he's a vampire, so he goes around killing people for their blood. Really good movie. Again, highly recommended. If you like vampire movies at all, definitely watch this movie. Very good. All right, since we were talking about vampires, I guess we have to talk about werewolves now. All right, so everybody knows the first movie, but I'm actually going to recommend the sequel. Ginger Snaps 2, Unleashed. Now, I do love the first one. It's a fantastic movie. I give it like a 9 out of 10. This one, however, I like even more. This one is more about the sister, right here, and her changing into a werewolf. But this time she's locked up in a drug rehab place. So she slowly transforms into the werewolf and stuff. And this also has a fantastic performance by Tatiana Maslany, years before her breakout role in Orphan Black. I could tell from this movie she was going to be something else, and I was right. So check this one out, especially if you like the first one. I think you'll like this one too. It's sort of a different take. Ginger's not in it that much. All right, the next one I'm going to recommend is a documentary called Zombie Girl. This movie is about a 12-year-old filmmaker named Emily. That's Emily. And this is her quest to make a zombie film. And this is a real story. She actually made this zombie film. And the film she made is actually a special feature on here, so you can actually watch her finished product on this thing. It's definitely, especially after you watch this movie, you're going to want to watch the movie she made. But this is a really, really interesting movie, and it's a great movie to watch for aspiring filmmakers. And she actually has become a full-blown filmmaker. She has made a few movies now in the horror genre. So check this one out. It's called Zombie Girl, the movie. Really good documentary. Now, the next two I'm going to talk about are definitely more well-known. First up, we're going to talk The Ruins. This movie is about a group of friends that go to some Mayan ruins, and they get trapped kind of on top of the ruins. They can't leave. And I'm not going to tell you why, and I'm not going to tell you how, but this movie has a bit of a creep factor. It's really quite spooky. I remember the performances being pretty good, and it has been a little while since I've watched it. I'm actually going to watch this again real soon because I remember really liking it. And so yeah, check this out. It's called The Ruins. And the final one I'm going to talk about is one of the most underrated slasher films, I think, of all time. Now, when you think of summer camp slasher flicks, of course you think of Friday the 13th, right? Well, this movie, to me, holds up right next to that. Some folks might even say it's better. It's one of the quintessential slasher films, like, in general, but especially of the summer camp variety. I don't think you can beat it. It's called The Burning. This is one of those, like cruel joke gone wrong type of thing. The guy used to work at the camp, and he got set on fire, and basically he's back for revenge. So, it's sort of Jason-ish, but it's so well done. And like I said, this came out, I think, in '81. So it came out right after that first Friday the 13th film. And it has effects by Tom Savini, and the acting is, especially for this type of movie, the acting is top notch. It even has a couple of people who would go on to be stars, like Jason Alexander, Holly Hunter, and Fisher Stevens. All have little parts in this movie before any of them really became prominent in any way. But another one I highly, highly recommend. It's called The Burning. So yeah, I hope you like my recommendations. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. That'd be really appreciated. And subscribe if you're new. And I will see all you guys next time. Remember, stay spooky.